She lost almost, I think, 25 to 30 kilograms in 9 months.
What? Does intermittent fasting actually work?
If you eat the same amount in the 8 hours versus the 24 hours, your weight doesn't change.
Really? Not about the insulin levels and blah, blah, blah,
hugely.
Eating after 8 p.m. makes me more likely to gain weight.
Untrue.
Everything I know is wrong.
You have to...
So hard to live.
Why is it so hard to lose weight? So for those of you who might not know, John has literally been starving himself for like the past 48 hours, right?
I'm fine.
Wait. So he says. And then John Paul, he's like every day gym, skipping rope, go fight, then eat burrito. And then for myself, I've also cycled through quite a few like crash diets, and I've gone through a lot of wasted gym memberships. And yet all three of us, based on our most recent medical report,
overweight.
We are struggling with obesity. So today I've gotten everybody help. Hopefully once and for all. Our guest for today has over 20 years of clinical experience providing comprehensive care for patients managing various endocrine conditions such as diabetes, thyroid disorders, obesity, etc. Please welcome Dr. Ben.
Can we cut out the part about the 20 years? I don't want people to know my age.
More than that, is it?
Yeah,
So I think like one of the more important things that we want to set the record straight on is why this episode matters for you, right? I think like Dr. Ben was also sharing with us right before this episode that there's actually quite a narrow group of people out of everybody who is trying to lose weight that are losing weight for like medical reasons. But there's a majority of people who are like, despite diet and exercise, despite however much willpower they have, right, still find it very difficult to lose weight. So we are going to go through like those pain points, what are some like myths, and Dr. Ben is here to also help us debunk those, right? How can we deal with those? Dr. Ben, can you tell us what you do? Like, what does your day-to-day look like?
I have 2 jobs. One of it is an endocrinologist. If you ask me what an endocrinologist is, don't worry if you don't know. My mom didn't know what it was either when I say I wanted to be one. An endocrinologist is a doctor of hormones. So I look at energy utilization. I look at weight loss, diabetes. We look at the hormonal side of things. My other hat is I'm a chief medical officer of the ORA Group. So the ORA Group is basically a telehealth platform. You may have heard of it, Over and Son. So what we've done is that I've helped them design a weight loss program, which is available to everyone online, so they can access to get some help for lifestyle, diet, medication, and so forth. And they get unlimited consultations to help them in their weight reduction.
So if I can also clarify, right, why should I listen to an endocrinologist talk about weight management? Like, what is the link?
I'm leaving now.
It's not directly clear.
I'm not going to say I know it all. I mean, the reality is that I don't. And there's still a lot of questions unanswered. I think that's clear. But I think when you come down to why you want to see a doctor, I think what we do and what we offer is something more scientifically based. I mean, I'm not saying my way is the only way, but what I'm able to do is, as you all have done, and I will reveal later, I can scientifically show you what your metabolic rate is. I can tell you how well you're burning energy. I can assess you medically on whether you really need to lose weight to significantly improve your health. And I offer not only lifestyle treatment and so forth, we offer a variety of methods to do it, including medical therapy.
So context, all 3 of us yesterday went to his clinic to get a checkup. 2 of us did the checkup because one person forgot to fast. Okay, we won't say who because it doesn't matter.
If people
it's not a finger pointing exercise. So thank you for giving me a folder anyway. My weight. But overall, body fat percentage and visceral fat remains above desirable range. His metabolic age is 47.
Metabolic age is counted mostly as a percentage between your fat and muscle percentage. So the higher your muscle percentage to your fat, then basically the younger you are.
Yeah lah, but 47 and 28, like, it's definitely a sign, right?
I tell you now, both of you, based on BMI, you're overweight.
Yeah.
But be very clear. When you look at it, you can see, especially from John's result here, his fat percentage is normal.
Right.
And his muscle mass is high.
Right.
So ultimately, that shows that although you have a BMI of 27.7, which puts him in the overweight range, he doesn't have any particular need to lose fat.
Right.
If the BMI is not the most reliable measure of what is obesity, then what actually is? Like, how do I know whether I am struggling with obesity?
I think that the BMI would work in most cases.
Right.
I think it's unfair to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think the long and short of the story that BMI, again, most of us live normal lives. and do normal things. So in those cases where your fat muscle percentage about the same, goes up and down the same way, is a reasonable indicator. It does tell you where you stand. You have to be aware, just because your BMI is normal, it doesn't mean you're healthy either. It could be that you have a high fat percentage and a low muscle mass. So,
Right.
but I think there are cases, and John Paul has highlighted that there are certain cases where your BMI is over the charts, but you are not overweight. Certainly you're overweight by definition, but you're not overweight because it's due to high muscle mass.
So can I ask, how is the desirable range determined?
I mean, it's determined based on your gender, race, and age. So everyone is different from person to person.
I see.
So I have a muscle mass of 59.4 kg, and then my desirable range is between 48 to 56.
Yes.
Which means I'm out of the muscle mass desirable range.
So it means you have high muscle mass.
Is that actually a bad thing?
That's a very good thing from a health
Then
perspective.
the desirable range should be just from what? No, man.
No, I think it gives you some idea.
Right.
Well, it gives you an
I
idea.
layman look at this, I'm like, shit.
No, wait, someone can have too much muscle.
Yeah, then when you try and pull your finger back, right, I can snap my own finger like one hand. You know what I mean? Too much muscles.
That's a bit extreme here.
Right.
But no, I think it gives you some idea of where you are. You want to know what most people are. So if, again, from here, you already
it's an
are, you have a
average range.
high muscle mass. So again, you can see this. The difference between Big John and yourself is simply because,
One of us is fat.
your fat percentage is just a little bit higher.
6% more.
Just a little bit more than what we want.
Right.
We did a bunch of tests, the breath test, a liver test, and a blood test.
Yes.
On top of taking our height and weight
Yep.
and the muscle composition. So why are you specifically checking for fatty liver?
There are many different kinds of fat. There's the fat that, we call subcutaneous fat. It doesn't look pretty, it's very floppy, but it's not unhealthy. The liver fat is unhealthy. So that's the one associated with diabetes and so forth.
So that thing that they stick here and then
Yes.
tung, tung,
Yeah,
tung,
correct.
right?
It's called a fibroscan.
In Dune it's called a thumper.
Thanks,
Oh my
man.
god, it's exactly that. It's exactly that. I also learned that some people's liver is like up here under their armpit. So yeah.
The heck?
But means they might be good in boxing because you don't know where the body shot lands.
Or you just want to, you don't want to injure them, but then you injure them.
What exactly is visceral fat and what causes people to gain visceral fat?
Visceral fat is like your beer belly. It's inside between your intestines and in your liver. So that affects your body's ability to process energy because the liver is the battery. So if you have a lot of fat, bizarrely, the liver cannot process energy properly, and hence it leads to your diabetes, blood pressure, and so forth. Your subcutaneous fat tends to be not so pretty, but it doesn't affect your energy utilization.
Right.
Men tend to gain more visceral fat than women until they hit menopause. So if you see most men, whenever you gain weight, should gain weight here one.
Because
It's the female hormones, estrogen, that causes it. So that's why you see a lot of ladies menopause. Oh, I gained so much weight. They didn't really gain a lot of weight. The weight distribution changed.
Right.
It's gonna be
So
distributed.
visceral fat
Fat is fat lah. It's just where is the fat.
Correct.
So fat is fat, but if fat finds its way to your liver, it becomes visceral fat.
Yes, but the components are slightly different. The chemical composition is slightly different. But the principle of it all is that if you gain weight, generally speaking, for men, we tend to gain more visceral fat. Certain kinds of food like fructose and so forth can enhance more visceral fat gain, but generally speaking, if you gain weight, you tend to gain weight in both areas. More for men
so it's
than
not
women.
like when people say eating like healthy fats versus unhealthy fats. It is not that.
Like
I can
almond.
eat healthy fat, but it can become visceral fat.
Yes and no. If you eat healthy fats, there's less of a risk of it. Remember, there are good fats and bad fats, as you correctly say. So the risk of it becoming visceral fat is lower if you're healthy fats.
Interesting.
Okay, so what I tend to struggle with is the bounce back after losing weight. And I think that's quite demoralizing also, because I can go through a program and then I'm losing weight, and then after that, when I cannot hold on to this program anymore based off of my sheer willpower, right, then I gain back even more weight than I have lost. So I also don't know whether this is like a medical issue, there's like a metabolism thing at play or what, right? Because over here you also wrote that my profile is very complex.
It's a bit more complex,
agree.
and I think that there's I think it just highlights several things, and I'll answer this in several ways. I think the main thing is that from a biological perspective, the body loves the way you are. You love to maintain, whether you're too fat, too thin, whatever, the body keeps you to a certain equilibrium. For example, if I told you now, I see you in 6 weeks, you gain 6 kilos, you're very happy, you eat what you want, you won't get 6 kilos. After about 2 weeks, you can't eat anymore because your body's saying stop. You think it's easy to get, it's not. Similarly, it's difficult to lose weight. But if you eat too much, you start getting jela, you don't want to eat anymore. If you eat too little, you get cold and hungry. So it keeps you to a particular level. And the problem is that a lot of people do this fast diets and they lose a lot of weight in a short space of time. So the body bounces back.
So how long must you hold on to a weight before your body adopts that as the
Usually
norm?
about six months minimum.
Months?
6 months minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, for example, we talked to you on a juice diet. The problem with the juice diet is this: if you take too little calories, you will burn too little calories. You eat less, you burn less. You drink more, you go to toilet more.
So I eat
same
more,
thing.
I burn more.
Exactly. You do, but so there is a certain level.
You're getting mixed signals.
But within a certain level, just to add on, what we did on Denise test, we actually measured your metabolic profile. So it's called indirect calorimetry. We went a breathing test that day, and what we did was we measured how much energy you burn a day and how much fat and sugar you burn off that energy.
Yeah, but just to explain, it was not those, you stand there and then you hold it. What I saw the both of them do is that there was this straw and then there's this tube plugged to the computer.
Let's insert a picture of John Paul.
And then they just kind of Darth Vader there for a minute or two.
Yeah.
How nice thing to do.
Me breathing into a tube tell you this information.
The long and short of it is that you take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. So you're actually oxidizing food.
Right.
So based on the amount of oxygen and you breathe out, we calculate the amount of calories you burn. Now, if you remember your science last time, all of us used to burn a sugar cube, right? Sugar is easy to burn, fat is difficult to burn. So by checking the amount of carbon dioxide and oxygen ratio, we can find out how much sugar and carbon dioxide you burn, carbohydrate you burn.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I'm damn sad I didn't take that one.
So that's how you got this result for me.
Yes, that's how I calculated your metabolic rate. In Denise's case, just to highlight finally how complex it is, one of the reasons, I'm not saying the only reason, Denise's metabolic rate was low is that her thyroid levels were slightly low as well. So that one is, you're right, that's not your fault. At baseline, your thyroid is a bit low, which could indicate, it could fluctuate, but it does indicate that could be contributing.
So is it a myth that if somebody says, right, I can't lose weight because I have low metabolism and that can't really be helped?
I don't think it's a myth. I think just like all of us here, we have different levels of eyesight, for example. All of us have different heights. So even the base metabolic rate, there'll be those who are all normal, no medical problems, which are a bit lower, and some people who tend to burn a bit more. And I think that's life. So I think it's unfair to say that just because I got low metabolic rate, I cannot lose weight. It's a bit unfair, if you're talking about in the absence of other illness, which you talked about. I think it can be harder to lose weight, but I think it's still possible.
Does intermittent fasting actually work?
I think that when it comes down to intermittent fasting, essentially you're eating less because you are confining the amount of time you eat and you consume calories. So if you eat the same amount in the 8 hours in which you're supposed to eat versus the 24 hours, your weight doesn't change.
So my body is
insulin level
Debunking something hugely.
my body ketosis.
You won't go into ketosis so fast. But the long and short is that if you look at the data, the latest one shows that there's potential risk of heart issues with intermittent fasting. No, I think the long and short is if you have a study that shows you, hey, this is good, and hey, there's some parts are not good, you put it all together, it's probably not that great. But it's also probably not that harmful. I think the benefits of intermittent fasting is clear. If you eat less during that day because you're restricting your calories, I think it works. I think it's good for discipline. I think it's good from a psychological perspective because you feel you're doing something. It's very important. I think it gives you some kind of structure to the way you eat and your lifestyle. So yes, I think there's a benefit to it. But be clear, there's nothing magical about this, that, my hormone levels are going to change so much. And
they talk about a prolonged no insulin spike.
I mean, it's not rubbish. It's true. If you don't eat, your insulin levels don't go up. I think the question you're asking is, does it translate to
weight loss,
sustained achievable weight loss? Most of the data we have on intermittent fasting is short. In fact, the longer studies tend to imply potential problems. So I think for a short time, not wrong, you want to lose some weight, you want to eat less, you want to structure, I think it's a very good idea, but be clear on what you're trying to do here.
No, on that note, right, how bullshit is a juice cleanse?
Asking for a friend.
I did a juice cleanse fully knowing that a lot of their detoxifying claims and blah, 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 right. Is rubbish. And because you're still consuming the sugars in the juice, But I did it because I saw this person do a 7-day water fast. And then I'm like, if I wanted to, can I? That's my start. I'm doing a 3-day juice fast, then I'm going to try and do a 1-day water fast, then a 2-day water fast. Thoughts?
Well, probably not as effective as you think lah.
Which one? The juice one or any fast?
Any fast.
Really?
No, look, at the end of the day, look, be clear that a lot of the weight loss, especially I fast 1 week, I lose a lot of weight, right? It's mostly water. I'm not being funny. You want to gain weight, right? I can tell you that you lose it as well. Go today, eat lots of carbs. Go take pizza, rice and all that, right? And you are probably about 2 or 3 kilos heavier the next day. Why? Because the insulin levels go up, you water retain. Carbohydrates draw water in.
Right.
So it's all water. Then I lost 3 kilograms after that. That's why you feel very guilty. I eat so much the next day. Because it's true. You are actually heavier, but it's water.
Right.
So when you go on a juice cleanse, will you lose some fat? If you go on a low caloric juice cleanse, yes, you will lose, but you won't lose it so fast.
How about like a water fast for 48 hours?
I think the question to ask is what you're trying to achieve from that. Just like any kind of supplements.
The cell renewal thing, the autophagy, you know what I'm talking about?
Autophagy, yes.
Autophagy, yeah. You just watch me struggle.
I was trying to help you there. Anyway, there's not much evidence. Long and short is that it's not something I would recommend.
I see.
Because at the end of the day, there's not much data on it, and I don't see much. I don't see much benefit in doing that.
And it carries risk.
Correct. Yeah. I certainly won't do the juice cleanse. I certainly won't do the 48 hours unless there's a specific reason on why you're doing it.
What's a good reason to do it besides religion?
Can't think of any, to be honest with you. Okay. I can't think of any. Well, why would you want to do that? Unless you've been really overeating and you want some kind of self-discipline, that kind of thing. But you're talking, I want to be healthier and I'm not going to eat for 48 hours. Don't see much benefit in it. I don't see much benefit in it. There are other ways, less extreme ways of doing it.
Okay.
Eating after 8 p.m. makes me more likely to gain weight.
Untrue.
Everything I know is wrong.
So, as in,
body fat makes you stupid.
I think like the argument is that because 8 p.m. then maybe most people sleep at 11, 12, so your body doesn't really have time to digest, or the myth of like metabolism slowing down at night.
It does slow down at night because your body functions less, but it doesn't mean that you're going to gain more weight during that time. Your body still moves, it goes slower, but still digests over the time. So there's not much difference. I mean, if you go down to the really nitty-gritty, yes, your cortisol level changes, your insulin level changes. I think the long and short, even from what you say about the lack of insulin spikes, does it translate to actual reducible? There's a lot of theories out there, but we've done the studies. It doesn't really say, hey, this guy's a lot thinner, because he's not eating late.
I see. Right. So if I everyday eat dinner at 5 p.m. versus I everyday eat dinner at 8 p.m. and I'm having the same food, there's no difference in the amount of weight I gain.
Scientifically, we can't see a huge difference.
But the difference might be in your sleep quality.
Possibly.
Losing weight is more about cardio and less about strength.
To remember what we spoke about just now, where we talked about different kinds of exercises produce different kind of results. So in simple things, back to the 100-meter runner and the marathon runner, the marathon runner has a lower base heart rate versus the 100-meter runner. So if you do more intensive resistance exercises, you go for bursts and lifting weights and so forth, you tend to gain muscle. So you gain weight. But if you work hard enough, you will gain muscle and lose fat. Versus doing cardio alone, you may lose a bit of fat along the way, but ultimately, it's preservation of muscle. You don't build that much muscle. So if I want to just increase muscle and lower fat, then you're really looking at more resistance activities. If you just want to go, I want to lose fat percentage, then you're looking at more aerobic activities.
I see.
So like on that point, right, like there are, the different zones based on like your heart rates, right?
Yes.
Is there like a better zone for weight loss?
About 70%.
So your 100% is 220 minus
it's 220
your weight.
minus your age. And then multiply by 0.7. So but you want to go
too
for
much
higher,
math.
No, the multiply by 0.7 is to get
but
the
they're
70%.
calculators. So the long and short, all of you got inside. Read your one. I put inside for you already. But there is a target for it. And at the end of the day, again, we are not promoting religion. It's all principle. Always work, about how, don't worry about the calculations and all that. Always appreciate the fact, different exercises, different results. It's not just, there are a lot of people say, I walk all the time, why nothing happens? Because you're not doing the exercise which you want to achieve what you want.
Is there a difference between I don't know what is the opposite of lean muscle? Like, is there like heavy muscle?
There is different kinds of skeletal muscle and so forth.
No, because I think there are a lot of girls that are afraid of doing strength training because they say, I don't want to be buff. Like, I don't want a big arm, for example.
I think Jong Paul can help me with this. It takes a lot of effort to build muscle. So a lot of people, I don't want to lift weights. I say, if you, I've been trying to lift weights. Look at this toothpick arms.
I've been trying to build up muscle, guys.
and it doesn't work, so
Don't say that. There's a little bit of...
talking about me, but ultimately, that's the least thing you need to worry about. But I mean, on that note, I think we have to appreciate that there are many ladies out there. The problem is that they are under muscle. Especially for the Singaporean young girls, they are under
There was
muscle.
just a study that came out
Yeah.
like today or yesterday that like 1 in 4 healthy weight Chinese women in Singapore who are in their 20s to 30s have low muscle mass combined with high body fat and weaker bones, and this puts them at a higher risk of musculoskeletal disorders.
Yeah, correct. Which is exactly the point. And what they don't highlight again, they're probably alluding to it, the low muscles absorb sugar. Muscles absorb cholesterol. All these ladies are at higher risk of diabetes.
Oh, yes, you're right. That's the next line. But also metabolic diseases such as
Dude,
diabetes.
can we see which doctor they spoke to?
Have you ever had a patient that no matter what you all tried, right, couldn't lose the weight? And then what was the issue?
I did, and in the end, she also lost weight. But in the beginning, she was a very young girl, and both her mom and her wanted to lose weight. The mom lost weight, she didn't. They went on the same
Very
diet.
young girl is-
No, in her 20s. Okay. I'm a lot older, so 20 years is very young.
Sorry for asking, sir. Sorry we went there.
It didn't work, So for 3-4 years, the mom lost about 15 kilograms, did very, very well, managed to put her diabetes into remission,
Wow.
managed to stop her medication, and it's keeping till today. I still see her, and it's managed to keep her weight down. Fantastic. The daughter, for until about 20 to 21, nothing. Couldn't do it, on the treatment, higher doses than the mother, it didn't work. Then she went to university. Then she met boys. Then suddenly, but it was determination.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, who am I, young love. But at the end of the day, after 4 years of not trying, she's the one, we stopped the medicines in the end. At 24, 25, she came to me and just said, I want the medication now. Then I said, sure, it didn't work. I said, I want the medication now. She lost more weight than the mother in the end.
What?
So it shows you, again, the plan. If you're going in, I'm not doing anything, I'm going to fight the treatment, and you can. I mean, then you can fight. You can fight surgery, you can fight injections, you can fight tablets.
Yeah.
So then she lost weight. So yes, there was one case it didn't work at all. But ultimately, it's important to appreciate that it comes down to the individual's determination and your willingness to change at the same time.
So then I'm curious, right? What would you say is the percentage of patients that come to you that are actually struggling with body image issues, and that is causing them a vicious cycle and not being able to lose weight?
I think that it's probably more common than you think. I think a lot of people don't like the way they look, and in many cases, they also see significant abnormalities in their tests and so forth. And so there's a spur to action. And the problem with that is that there comes a time where the biggest intervention is to show results. I always say the best treatment in the world is not your diet, it's not your lifestyle, it's not your drugs, it's someone who hasn't seen you for a while. Hey, you lost weight, looking good, Best treatment. Whatever you're on, you're going to maintain it.
But you got cancer, that's why. Yeah.
You just spoiled my mojo there.
I'm asking about body image because I am somebody that has like a injured devil in my real life, essentially, right? That for example, when I tell my partner, I feel so fat, I look so ugly in this set of clothes or whatever, then my partner tends to default to no baby, you're not lah, for example. Then but to me, I mean, no handsome. As in, the main issue is that I feel like when I tell her that on one hand, there is my partner who is telling me, oh no, you are fine. On the other hand, there is my mother without prompting who is saying, when are you going to lose weight? Hey, Chinese New Year is coming out or what? Hey, your butt very big, that kind of stuff. So then it's on one hand, I'm very demoralized. Then on the other hand, I feel very dismissed. Then I think it affects how I view myself in that sense. So I'm not sure, maybe what would your advice be to, I'm not sure whether you see a lot of cases like mine. And what would your advice be?
But this is by far the most difficult question in this interview, because I'll answer it in two ways, as a non-doctor and as a doctor. As a non-doctor, I say that to my wife all the time, I still get scolded. I tell you, if I say, no, you look fine, I get scolded. I say, no, you need to lose weight, I also get scolded. So there's no right answer to this question.
You need an anthropologist for that one.
So at the end of the day, there is no right answer. In some way, there's a degree of self-condemnation in there, isn't it? And I think we need to recognize that. And again, it comes down to the fact that people living with obesity is something you can see. And the problem is our eyes aren't that good. You have to lose quite a bit of weight for someone to notice. If you lose 1-2 kilos, cannot see one. And that's the problem, isn't it? So ultimately, you look at yourself and there's nothing more demoralizing because there's inclusive of the fact sometimes you didn't go to the toilet, you drink water, near your time of month and all that, your weight fluctuates. So it's how demoralizing. You go on diet for 2 weeks, you eat less, exercise more, you go on the scale and you're 2 kilograms heavier.
I feel like mentally something that changed for me also, right? Actually, my fat percentage was very high almost my entire life. I never exercised. Then only over the last 3 years did I really try to kind of like live differently. The change was that instead of saying like, I want to be fitter or I want to be healthier, I just changed to I am. I am a fit person.
Oh, positive affirmations.
No, like, yeah, it was just really like a mental shift like that. Right? Then after that, right, even though I'm not there yet, now I'm working towards it because I believe that I am like athletic or I am healthy. If not prior to that, I keep striving for something that it felt like I'm striving to be something that I'm not.
There's a growth mindset. And I think there's a very good sense of psychology. And I'm sure that the minute you started losing weight, the momentum was there already. You saw the scales, you saw the effect, and that was all you needed to spur you on. In some way, I always say a lot of people who have lost weight, there's a man living in a large person's body. You still think you are that weight, isn't it? And there's always that intense fear of you going back to where you were. So once you've hit that level, it's very hard to gain the weight back because you've hit that set point.
What's the most amount of weight you've seen a patient lose, right? And what made the biggest difference for them?
It was the lady, young girl we talked about. She lost almost, I think, 25 to 30 kilograms, of weight. Incredible amount, and she barely lost any muscle, maybe 2-3 kilograms for that amount of fat. Incredible. Short, 9 months.
What?
It was absolutely incredible, and now we're in the process. I think you saw a few weeks back, we're in the process of stopping or reducing the therapy. So it just goes to show you, that ultimately, if you are determined, you can do it.
Are there other biological factors aside from like metabolism or like if I am predisposed with like diabetes and all that, right, that could contribute to this that cannot be fixed with diet and exercise?
I think the huge component is also lifestyle as well. We always take it for granted, but our body responds to stress the same way. Whether you are in the jungle and you think tiger is going to jump out and eat you, or whether you're not, your boss is down your neck, your body responds the same way. It produces a lot of stress hormones. When stress hormones are produced, basically your metabolic rate goes up. Best example again, you're in the jungle, you got no food to eat, you have to hunt. Your metabolic rate goes up. Right. Because you need to fight. You are afraid something's going to attack you. Your conversion of energy will immediately convert to sugar. Why? Because fat is a storage. You'll burn sugar because it will allow you to fight and it will make you hungry and hunt for food. So it's a very biological thing. So when you are stressed because of work, your body reacts the same way.
But is there a way to like reduce the amount of cortisol my body is producing in reaction to the same stressor?
I can give you medication to calm you down, make you less stressed, make you less anxious. But at the end of the day, this is you are covering it with a chemical thing. You can do it. It's not wrong. To be fair with you, some people require it. But from the bottom, if anyone wants to talk about weight reduction, mindfulness is important. That I need to look after myself. Looking after myself is not just eating the right way and so forth, but it's to make sure I have enough rest, enough sleep, eat well, not to eat too little, and that will ultimately affect my psychological state as well.
We talked about what we could do with our health or various diets, which you mostly disapprove of. So to me, right, to see a doctor about your weight, in my head is usually a plastic surgeon, like some liposuction, or the doctor will just tell you how to eat well and exercise more. Like the doctor will tell you, please go and exercise 3 times a week. From the examples you've given, there seems to be a lot more options. What are some of the medical/surgical options available for weight loss?
So then we come to the medical therapy. There's medication. At this point in time, there are numerous kinds of medication. You can take it. There are oral forms of therapy. There's injectable forms of therapy. And it really depends on which is more acceptable for the patient and so forth. I mean, the biggest one nowadays is a therapy called GLP-1 analogs. Right. So GLP-1 in simple is an intestinal hormone that we all produce. And it just controls your cravings, controls your hunger, slows the gut down. So these are the most common forms of therapy that's being prescribed at the moment. Do they work? Yes, they do. Do they have side effects? Yes, they do. So you have to get the correct kind of patient and you need the correct kind of monitoring when it comes down to these treatments. If these things don't work or the condition is deemed so significant, then we need surgical therapy. Even for surgery, I'm not a surgeon, but there are many different kinds of surgery, from Roland Y, the gastric sleeve where they tie up, they bypass the stomach, they tie up the stomach, that sort of thing.
I saw one, it's about, there was this brochure in a clinic I saw. Like basically they just kind of stitch up your stomach, make your stomach a smaller pocket. But then in my head, right, I can't see how the food gonna flow.
It can. It's an exaggeration. So it's called a sleeve. So ultimately, you're making the stomach smaller. So you eat less. Similarly, interestingly, if you cut the stomach smaller, it also increases your GLP-1 hormone. So the hormones which you inject, once you, for reasons we are not entirely sure, when you cut that stomach down, your GLP-1 hormones increase as well.
Increases.
Yes, they naturally increase as well.
Right.
Also, your body naturally produces that.
It naturally produces that.
I mean, something need to tell your brain to stop eating, right?
Yes. But the funniest thing was that we were reading, then of course as part of the brochure, right, there's a page on like side effects and like
Hey, we were at weight loss clinic together.
Yes, things that you need to be cautious of. Then I was like, hey John, one of the things that might happen after this surgery is you gain weight.
Yes, yeah.
Then, oh my god, I tired my whole stomach gain weight.
Spend the money, you let the fellow cut you open.
I think, but that is true. You've seen these people, they cannot eat very much because their stomach is smaller.
Yeah.
We have seen people, they blend their mee rebus and they eat it because they're not psychologically prepared. They weren't ready for it. They just say, give it to me, but I think I'm going to eat the same way. I'm going to do the same thing. And the stomach is a muscle. You can stretch it. So after 2-3 years, you've stretched it back.
Why would somebody choose something that is like cut me open and then like so it sounds so invasive over the other option of like getting just like an injection?
I mean, I think it depends again on patient preference and also the degree of severity. You understand that these jabs, they do promote weight loss, but if you're looking at maybe 40% or weight reduction, that sort of thing, these jabs may not offer this kind of amount of weight loss and the benefits and speed in which you want to get it.
Right.
But I think it's mostly, again, it is patient preference. Some people say, hey, the jab, I have to keep taking my whole life like that kind of thing. Why don't I just do surgery? Then I don't have to think about it. So it's a different preference. But
I see.
the most important thing again is that if you take one step back, you have to communicate with the person has to be very clear what he's doing. If you're going, I'm not doing anything and I'm just going to lose weight, then be prepared that you may not get the results that you're looking for.
My dad actually did the injection stuff. Like the injection therapy because he
Purely
was
for weight loss reasons.
No, it was health reasons. He had like diabetes and a bunch of other things. So then I think the doctors were prescribing at the time that he needs to lose weight. If not, it's going to be a much bigger problem.
His dad also tried to recommend to me one day when he visited the office.
Yeah. No, but it was interesting watching it because like for the larger part of my adult life, he's just been like very big lah. So then when the process was quite gradual, but I think that was very beneficial because it slowly helped him to adjust to a new lifestyle.
How rapid was it?
I think it happened over the course of like half a year.
Lost like
And then he lost,
digit.
I think like got 20 kg that kind. Yeah,
Is he still on the treatment or he stopped it?
No, I don't know, but it's maintaining. After he hit his goal already, right? Then we were telling him like, now you need to start gaining muscle because that's so important.
Yes.
But I think that's a part that like it's a struggle for like people that are older. So I think.
Of course. No, but during the 6 months when he had the super fast weight loss, was he eating as per normal?
A lot less.
So because that jab made him not hungry. I see.
I thought it was interesting because you've shared before that when you were younger, you also struggled with your weight. Then like your dad also struggled with your weight. And Dr. Ben also has like shared that, within the same household, if there are people that are overweight, there is a much higher chance that you will also be overweight.
Yeah.
So it's his fault lah.
Maybe. And next episode is communication. So like my question is like, how important is like family support or like the people around you, right, when you're trying to lose weight, and what can they actually do to help?
At the end, when it comes down to weight loss, I almost always insist that I treat the family. Everybody comes along. There's no point to tell you, hey, eat like this, right? But you don't prepare the food.
Yeah.
So in order to treat the family. You don't treat the individual. First, you make aware that just because you don't have diabetes and all that doesn't mean you won't be. Because your genetics are protecting you. If you are eating this, your partner, wife, whatever will be eating the same thing. If you don't go to the gym, your partner, wife as well will not go to the gym. At the end of the day, the risk factors and chronic diseases accumulate. Then it's also support. Because if you are not clear on the plan, again, plan. Always remember, go back one step. Oh, your partner's telling you, eat lesser. Doctor saying eat more protein, then there's what is the correct way forward? So when you come together, then before treatment, whether it's medication, whether it's surgery, whether it's just lifestyle, everybody agrees, all right, for the next 6 months, this is what we're going to do. Once you do that, there's no deviation. Even if that person prepares the food or doesn't prepare the food, the partners and all are already involved in the whole treatment process.
Yeah, no, like for me also, like I think I've attempted to lose weight multiple times in my life, right? Always a struggle. Then there are so many components like exercise, but then if I keep going to the gym alone, sometimes a bit sian. Yeah, so then
Especially if you
then
attach going to the gym alone. It's not just sian, it's sian plus you leave her alone.
then I gave up a few times. I had to keep trying again. Then the other part that really played a very large factor, right? I think my mom started to step in, right, and support me, right? And then she helped me to meal prep. Then like the food really
Wow, hey, can I get on that?
chicken, everything like the pasta, all this, right? Wow, do until damn solid. Then and I can feel the love and support from her. Then nowadays when she cooks something that like that's not part of my diet, right? Like outside the meal prep, she will still text me and ask whether I'm cooking this. You can eat or not?
Wow.
You cannot. Yeah.
Then sometimes you're not even thinking about diet, but because your mom asks you these things, it reminds you to be more conscious.
If I'm not yet at the stage where I feel like I want to go and seek a doctor, what is one practical thing that I can do to start managing my weight?
I think the first thing you have to ask yourself is, do you want to lose weight or not? I'm sure most of us will say yes. And you have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how do I want to get there? And if your thing is, I want to be slim but not willing to do anything, and you be realistic, then you're not going to get it. It takes determination. But if you still want to do it, then there are ways to do it. There are medication therapies and so forth to do it. From again, the extreme where you're looking at surgeons to actually cause weight, help you with weight reduction, to the other part where you just need diet and lifestyle and so forth. But how this is delivered is also extremely important. Gone are the days where you just face to face, I want to see my GP for weight reduction and all that. There are some people who do. They're medical problems and they need to treat their blood pressure, diabetes. But I think a much larger component of people is also the telehealth segment. And I think that the delivery of the telehealth segment, I mean, in Over and Unsons, what we offer is we ultimately, we have designed a method where people can actually call a doctor, get unlimited consultations, and they can actually assess dietary advice, exercise prescriptions, not dissimilar to what you get, and they have access to medications, and they have follow-up as well. The spectrum of care, when you talk about who you can see, is huge, and the access, you have to have a point of access in every single area to go up and down this whole spectrum, so that you get the correct service. And ultimately, if you have a program that's designed by specialists, who understand the whole process, then it makes it a lot easier to get that kind of treatment.
So we've come to the end of the episode. I hope you've gotten a lot more of an in-depth look at all the things, right, that go into weight management. It might not just, it's definitely not your fault, but I think there are things that you can do to get out of the situation that you are in if you are unhappy with where you're at. And so for more information about weight management, do check out the link below, www.truthaboutweight.sg. Or if you would like to seek professional help, we have people like Dr. Ben and the range of other services that he has shared with us today as well, right? So thank you very much, Dr. Ben, for being here.
Thank you.
Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I don't stop eating because I'm full. I'm still eating because still got food.
You cannot waste food, guys.
No, not because of that. It's just like, for example, if I get a plate of chicken chop, let's say I finish my chicken already. Objectively, am I still very hungry? No. Can I walk away? Can, because today I spent 3 days not eating. But there are fries there. Will I eat it even though I feel like I'm full and nourished? I will eat the fries.
So what is this problem, Dr. Ben?
Mental problem.
No, it's just food habits. Ever since young, we were told to clean our plate. That we're supposed to eat everything there.
Also, the fries taste good lah.
And also
I mean, the fries suck, it helps.
Of course it helps.